What are your preferred pronouns? They, them. Oh, I've never heard those before. What are they? They're what's known as neopronouns. What are neopronouns? They're basically your own custom pronouns. When no other pronouns seem to fit, you come up with your own pronouns. Anything can really be a pronoun.
It's true, anything.
How do I use them? It depends on the person and their pronouns. They, them follows a similar spelling to they and them, and even similar grammar rules like their and their. So they, them, themselves, theirs, things like that.
أنا بعرف عن نفسي لا ذكر ولا أنثى، اثنين. أنا ذكر وأنثى بروح وجسد واحد. أنا ممكن أطلع يوم هوية جندرية حاسس فيها أكتر كرجل، أو اليوم الثاني واللي بعده كأنثى.
Hi, I'm Jax, and I just came up with new neopronouns that combine he, him, she, her, and they, them, okay? So hear me out. They, them, theirs, okay? They, them, their, whatever you want to consider it, right? Let's take the first one, the, okay? This combines she, he, and they, right? They. The. That's what they said, you know? That's what they said.
My name's Farah. I am a trans woman, as well as an intersex woman. My pronouns are she, her, they, them, or your grace. My eyes are tattooed. My nose is a piercing. I identify as a threat, a nightmare, and a goddess, so please bow down to me.
I have this thing, call it a little quirk if you will. I have hair in my armpit. I have it there for a few reasons. 1, lazy. 2, the patriarchy. And 3, your response to them tells me everything I need to know about you.
Don't worry, they're not seeking attention. None of these people are seeking attention. It's amazing. They demand nothing of you, right? This was the argument. Wasn't this always the argument? The argument was they're not demanding it. They just want to live life the way they want to live life, except they demand your full acceptance. If you look at people and you say, it's strange that you have decided to shave the front of your head, leave a ponytail, and leave your armpits unshaven while wearing sleeveless shirts, that's my problem? It seems like more it's your problem. Don't demand my attention, and then when I give you the attention, you get very offended by the attention. It's the most childish crap ever. Seriously, it's super childish. It's what my 5-year-old does.
Many of you may have seen this 6-year-old girl.
Why, hello. Welcome to Stephanie's Playtime. I hope my little sockets have been good. We have an adventure for you. Come on in and see what we found.
In my mind, I'm a girl. I was never allowed to be a little girl. So I'm filling that tank of little girl experiences.
You've probably noticed there's a lot of people worried about their safety because I identify as a 6-year-old. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter.
Now, you might think that this carbon-based life form that identifies as a 6-year-old girl is just trolling, but they're not.
Melanie, it's Stephanie. Will you wake up for our friends and practice your piano?
Psychology, psychiatry, neuroscience, it's still in its infancy, and we still know so little about the brain. And 150 years ago, we knew nothing. It was all guesswork, right? And everything was just mental. If you weren't a white, sort of heterosexual, married Christian man, right? If you deviated too far, you were mental. They just went mental, like homosexuality, mental illness. You were put in an asylum for life, or worse, tortured. Women who fell pregnant out of wedlock, mental, asylum for life, right? And now we understand things more. We're more tolerant. I think it's going too far the other way, though, because now nothing's mental. You can't find somewhere that nothing is considered mental. Everything is a syndrome or an addiction or a preference, right? I could have my legs removed, have wheels put on, identify as a pram, right? And if you sound mental, you're a bigot.
Bill C-16 purported to do nothing but extend human rights provisions to an excluded group, let's say, to the transgender and non-gender binary types. And that was the federal legislation. It also made it a hate crime to discriminate or harass, essentially. So now then the question is, well, what exactly do you mean by discriminate or harass? And why exactly is that a hate crime under the criminal code? Well, there was an answer to that. The answer was, well, this bill will be interpreted in light of the policies generated by the Ontario Human Rights Commission, a very large set of policies. Now, the Ontario Human Rights Commission is a radically leftist organization. I think it's the most dangerous organization in Canada, although you could debate that. And they set out all sorts of policies about how this this legislation was going to be interpreted, and the federal government linked to their website to state that Bill C-16 would be interpreted in light of those guidelines. So I went and read all the policies. Well, one of the policies was that if you didn't use the preferred pronouns of a given group, that you could be charged essentially with a hate crime. And I thought, no,
Which
that's
given
no.
group is that? You're talking about transgender people.
Yeah, and so there's all these pronouns that have come up. There's 70 different sets of pronouns approximately to hypothetically describe people who don't fit anywhere on the gender spectrum, which is also something that I don't really understand. I don't understand that conceptually. A person is compelled under Canadian law to use the pronoun of another individual's choice on pain of law. And I thought, well, no, that's not acceptable. It's one thing to put limits on what a person can't say, like say with hate speech laws, which I also don't agree with, by the way, but that's a different argument. I think it's a narrower argument. But to compel me to use a certain content when I'm formulating my thoughts or my actions under threat of legislative action, I thought, no, what's happened there is the government has introduced compelled speech legislation into the private sphere. It's never happened in the history of English common law. And so I said, there's no way I'm abiding by that. I don't care what your damn rationale is. We're compassionate. It's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're playing this radical collectivist left-wing game. You're trying to gain linguistic supremacy in the area of public discourse. You're doing that using compassion as a guise, and you're pulling the wool over people's eyes. And you're not going to do it with me.